Right now on the National Weather Desk, after Ian, we'll look back on the hurricane 1 year after it made landfall. Plus, we'll look at some of the lessons learned from the storm.
Don't put a lot of faith in those long-range weather forecasts.
Flood recovery, how the potential government shutdown could impact communities still cleaning up from recent floods.
We lost everything. I mean, there was nothing salvageable in this house.
Farmer fears. Why so many farmers are worried about the drought's impact on the Mississippi River.
We're experiencing right now is a movie sequel none of us want to watch.
What you need to know about tonight's final supermoon appearance of the year. And did you know persimmon seeds can help forecast winter weather?
The seeds inside, though, are what hold the key to what kind of winter we could have.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. 1 year ago today, life along Florida's southwestern coast changed forever. On September 28th, 2023, Hurricane Ian made landfall as a Category 4 storm, packing winds of 150 miles an hour. The hurricane brought a massive and deadly storm surge with water flooding homes and businesses along the coast. Meteorologist Veronica Johnson looks back at the storm and some of the lessons learned and the years since it made landfall.
But still a lot of guidance here, where the American model was more on the western side, the European model more on the eastern side. So we're still at odds with the computer model forecast.
And already that push of water inland is occurring, and that's going to be that dangerous storm surge, which could be anywhere between 8 to 12 feet.
Extreme wind warning has been issued. These are very rare.
We're going to go back to home and not be able to recognize it.
It's the sound of the river running through the bottom floor.
And it was the massive storm surge that caused the most devastation and destruction.
In Fort Myers, in that area where the storm surge has been catastrophic.
The water rose as high as 15 feet in Fort Myers Beach, destroying 900 structures and damaging thousands more.
It's completely gone. I mean, it's like it's wiped off the face of the earth.
This is what Sanibel Island looked like before Ian. This is what it looked like after. You can really see the damaged causeway.
Are you guys okay?
In Naples, the fire department walked through waist-high water to rescue people.
Trees down, motorcycles down, cars crashed into each other.
The numbers are staggering. According to the National Hurricane Center, Ian was responsible for over 150 deaths and more than $112 billion in damage, making it the third costliest hurricane in U.S. history. Only recently did we learn Ian was briefly a monster Category 5 storm with 160-mile-per-hour winds before making landfall as a Category 4.
You get all this stuff ready, but you really just don't think it's going to happen to you.
So what lessons did we learn from Hurricane Ian? Our team of hurricane experts weighs in.
I'd say the lessons we learned from Hurricane Ian are to listen to all of the warnings whenever they're issued.
Don't put a lot of faith in those long-range weather forecasts.
Even outside of the cone, it's very important to heed the watches and warnings and be prepared for the impacts.
The National Hurricane Center did an incredible job with Ian's cone of uncertainty. Yet, all public eyes were on a Tampa landfall 24 hours out. My friends in Southwest Florida would tell you today that they were surprised by the sudden evacuation orders that came for them on too short notice to act and leave.
You know, you may recall there was a concern Hurricane Ian would make a direct strike on Tampa. It did not. Hurricane Idalia also missed the region, making landfall north in Florida's Big Bend. A direct strike on Tampa Bay is a worst-case scenario that has only happened in a simulation. Matt Ritter has the story of Project Phoenix.
Forecasters say this storm could be one of the strongest ever to hit the Tampa Bay region.
This is unfortunately the worst case scenario unfolding for the Tampa Bay area. Phoenix is now a Category 5 hurricane with maximum sustained winds at 160 miles an hour.
Project Phoenix is a doomsday exercise conducted by the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. The training model envisions a Category 5 storm kills more than 160 people with 30,000 missing and up to $200 billion in damage.
And as you can see, the storm surge has completely inundated downtown.
Law enforcement now is reporting that all bridges have been cut off by storm surge. We're looking at up to 20 feet of storm surge in some spots. St. Petersburg is essentially an island right now.
The damage this morning is unimaginable. The beaches are essentially gone.
The Howard Franklin Bridge is completely destroyed. I've never seen anything like this.
The fictional account isn't designed to scare people. It was produced to identify gaps in emergency planning, so Tampa is ready the next time that a hurricane's track doesn't shift away from the bay.
We are tracking the tropics this morning, and a change since yesterday. Tropical Storm Philippe is slowing down and weakening. Right now, it does not appear to be a direct threat to Puerto Rico. By Sunday or possibly even Monday, it could be over that island. We are also watching a disturbance right behind it that is not a threat right now. If that storm develops, it would be named Rena. Storms named after that, you can see the list: Sean, Tammy, Vince, and Whitney. If the National Hurricane Center needs more names, they will start using the Greek alphabet. Meantime, a new study finds major hurricanes are forming earlier in the year than ever. And yes, climate change and the warming oceans are to blame. The study in the journal Nature looked at major storms, those with sustained winds of at least 127 miles per hour. Researchers found those storms are forming more than 3 days earlier each decade since 1981. The earlier a storm forms, the greater the risk. They grow to be even bigger, causing catastrophic damage. Portions of Vermont are still recovering after this summer's devastating floods, and now there's another wrinkle. The possible government shutdown this weekend could impact those efforts. Kelvin Cutler has more.
Kyle Richardson bought his first home in Barrie 7 months ago. His whole neighborhood was slammed by this summer's floods.
$178,000 worth of damage just for me. And that is not including outside.
3 months on, he's still waiting on most of his insurance money, which didn't cover any of his personal belongings.
We lost everything. I mean, there was nothing salvageable in this house. I had 4 feet in my kitchen and my living room. Everything was gone.
FEMA paid out about $5,000. Approaching 3 months since the floods, he's still mucking out his garage and trying to find a way to replace his boiler.
Things cost money and money's just not here.
The fall foliage is turning and the weather is getting colder. Vermont is scrambling to get people hooked up to heat or get them into temporary housing. Just shy of 50 families will be moving into FEMA trailers like these. Here's an example of one of the units that will be placed at the country club in Montpelier. It comes with furniture, a kitchen, and this unit specifically has 2 bedrooms. Fully equipped with electric heat, running water, utilities, and more. Nearly $20 million in FEMA cash has been paid out to flood victims. But in anticipation of the federal spigot being shut off, the Scott administration is ordering all state agencies to draw down all the federal funds they can. But unlike past government shutdowns, Vermont has $2 billion cash on hand.
We have a decent cushion, but as the weeks go by, and particularly as the months go by, it would become challenging for us to operate.
In Texas, extreme drought is the problem across much of that state. The receding waters are exposing long-hidden secrets. Take Canyon Lake, for example, north of San Antonio, where underwater caves were exposed. It is still unclear what secrets those caves may hold. There's also proof that 2 towns once existed at the bottom of the lake. They disappeared when the lake, which is actually a reservoir, was created 60 years ago. And you may have noticed the moon was pretty bright last night. It will be even brighter tonight. The last supermoon of the year, which is in September, is known as the harvest moon. Supermoons happen when the full moon is closest to the Earth, so it appears 14% larger and 30% brighter than the faintest moon of the year. The full moon peaks tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. Eastern. Not only is this the last supermoon of 2023, it's the last one until September of 2024. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, farmers are taking a hit due to low water levels along the Mississippi River. How this is affecting competition with other countries. We'll tell you how the weather is impacting the corn crop in Wisconsin coming up.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. More great-looking weather is on the way in the Northeast today. Early morning temps are running in the 40s and low 50s. Afternoon temperatures will be running the 60s and low 70s. We have a lot of sun. Notice some more clouds over southern New England, New Jersey, and New York. And those areas stand our greatest chance for getting a little bit of wet weather into Friday. The trend will be for increasing clouds moving through the Northeast on Friday. The storm system to our south, it's a close call, but it looks like it should bring some wet weather in southern New England Saturday.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Up and down the 95 corridor, temperatures rising into the 60s as we head through about lunchtime, and on our Thursday about 2:30 p.m., 60s north, some 70s south. That's as our next weather maker approaches from the west. Could see some showers moving in as early as Thursday afternoon, but especially Thursday night and into the day on Friday. Some drying improvements on the way for the weekend. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. We're seeing a hot one in Tupelo at 90 degrees, 86 in Mobile, 84 Nashville. Cooler over in Raleigh at 78 degrees, 81 in Charleston, about 80 in Jacksonville, Tampa, 89 degrees. We're seeing the showers across parts of the coastal regions down off the Gulf. Looks like we are seeing some sun and clouds out there, but a little cooler flow across parts of North Carolina. A little bit of cloud cover over parts of Alabama and showers and thunderstorms in Florida.
Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Severe thunderstorms are dangerous, but they can help produce great photographs, starting in central Missouri, where the lightning is visible coming from these impressive storm clouds. The same system also produced a funnel cloud as well as hail in Callaway County. And north of El Paso, Texas, the lightning was very pronounced during a storm in the Franklin Mountains.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Low levels along the Mississippi River could not come at a worse time. Local farmers are taking a hit. Cedar Rapids reporter Nana Shimam reports it's hampering plans to export soybean crops and could put worldwide competitiveness at risk.
We normally don't concern ourselves with that river. With the lock and dam system on the upper Mississippi, it's never been an issue.
Farmer Rob Ewald says at first this year's low river levels threw him and local farmers for a loop. Now they're feeling the heat.
So in the soybean market, we're competing against South America, Brazil and Argentina. They historically run out of soybeans about September, and so then that opens up the U.S. market. September through January is normally when the U.S. exports most of their soybeans. And again, most of the soybeans exported go down the Mississippi River.
What we're experiencing right now is a movie sequel none of us want to watch.
The Soy Transportation Coalition's executive director, Mike Steenhoek, says low levels mean big consequences.
Concerned with a more shallow navigation channel, you might scrape the bottom, you might even have a grounding of that barge. So it's kind of analogous from going from a 6-lane freeway down to 3 lanes.
For Ewald, the risk of loss comes with every drop-off he makes to the Mississippi.
Now with the river low and barges only being able to fill to about 90% of their capacity, and that has now affected us, and now we're seeing about a 60-cent discount.
That's about double the usual discount rate, forcing farmers to slash their prices.
Well, this next story may be from Texas, but it could affect you no matter where you live. It hit Austin earlier this week, leaving cars across the region with shattered windshields and also dents. Now people are starting to file insurance claims. So what's the best way to move forward if something like this happens to you? Betty Cross explains.
This week's hailstorm was quite an introduction to home ownership for Molly Morse. She moved into this house 3 weeks ago and never expected to already be filing insurance claims for a long list of repairs.
We need a whole new roof, new windows, new screens. Yeah, new garage door, everything's banged up.
Molly emailed her insurance agent Sunday night during the hailstorm. Filing fast puts you at the front of the line.
As soon as you realize that you've experienced any kind of hail damage to your home or to your vehicle, you want to go ahead and submit that claim.
Robert Degwa is an insurance agent with State Farm. He says make it a priority to document every dent and ding.
But the important thing is just to take as many pictures as you can and catalog that damage.
Insurance companies say to avoid contractor fraud, get several estimates from local businesses. Never pay up front. And don't sign a contract before checking with your insurance claims adjuster. Molly also recommends finding a roofing or repair company that has considerable experience working with insurance companies.
They'll come out, they'll meet your insurance adjuster, they'll make sure that the insurance captures absolutely everything that you need to get paid for.
In Wisconsin, many local farmers are waiting to harvest their crops. For some, the work is already underway. Meteorologist Christian Palacio caught up with a corn farmer to find out how the weather is impacting this year's crop.
And we'll be harvesting everything.
Daniel Diedrich, owner of Diedrich Farms, is one of many farmers in the process of harvesting or about to harvest corn for animal feed. The harvest season in Wisconsin typically runs from the end of September and can last through the end of November.
So we're taking the whole plant and chopping it up, so every one of our fields will be done hopefully here by the end of the weekend.
I asked Diedrich how a farmer knows when it's time to harvest.
So what we're looking for is percent dry matter, and we're looking for about 35% dry matter, 65% moisture. So that's kind of what we're looking for, and that's where we're at right now.
Diedrich says we're right on schedule, even though portions of the state received less rain in recent months.
We were lucky in our particular area, we've got very timely rains. Some other areas weren't as so well off as we are, but we turned out very well here in northeast Wisconsin.
And with the weather we've had over the past few days, Diedrich says the weather conditions are just right.
It's been overcast the last couple days, but it hasn't really rained a lot right here. That's turned out very well for harvesting because we're not dealing with the mud that we often deal with this time of year. But farther west here, New London area, they got a lot more rain, so they're having to deal with those struggles.
Halloween will be here before you know it. And if you're thinking of picking up a pumpkin, Tyler Butler shows us how strange weather across the country has made a quality harvest a bit tighter this year. He reports from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
All across the country, it's been a little odd, and that's affected crop yields. And particularly this time of year, we're thinking October, Halloween, we're focusing on pumpkins. And yes, pumpkins have been affected. I'm here at Shepherd's Cross, their pumpkin festival here that they do every year, sort of a peaceful pumpkin patch, if you will. And what they have here are what they call picture-perfect pumpkins for your porch. They are perfect in just about every way. But they do say that you're going to want to strike while the iron's hot. If you want that perfect pumpkin, you're going to want to get one sooner rather than later because that supply may not last. They have been able, though, to obtain a pretty steady supply of pumpkins, so they shouldn't run out.
We're good. We've got some good family relationships that we've developed over the years. We've been here for 30 years, and we're just grateful for other family farms that we get to work with.
So they'll have pumpkins, they'll be stocked up, but it is, again, going to be the highest quality stuff that goes out first. And as time goes on, the closer we get to the holiday, it's just going to be harder to find those perfect pumpkins.
In Maine, residents are concerned about a jetty that's blamed for damaging the shoreline. They want solutions that will work now and long into the future. Johnny Maffey is in Saco with the story.
Big waves and massive storm surges have washed away dozens of homes on Camp Ellis since the Army Corps built this jetty more than 150 years ago.
We meet to discuss what's going on, what people are doing about it, learn more about the science.
Residents and even some high school students are getting updates on the progress of potential short-term and long-term solutions and how to face this issue head-on. One idea is wave attenuation, which is a way of controlling the waves.
When you slow those waves down, on the backside of those devices, on the backside of those test management practices, you actually start depositing sand and building up sand.
And lawmakers talked about how limiting erosion has an economic impact beyond Camp Ellis.
Tourists come to Old Orchard Beach for the beach.
Indeed, an estimated 9 million visitors came to Maine beaches in 2022 alone.
As for long-term solutions, funding for a 750-foot spur jetty was approved in the National Defense Authorization Act. The Army Corps sent a project proposal to SACO about that last week.
Look at Portugal's rocky Atlantic coast.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest, really heating up across Nebraska and Kansas. Now, as we continue on into the day today, there's rain still in the Ohio Valley, slowly moving its way out to the east, but we have more rain moving back into the plains, the northern plains on Friday. That kind of fizzles out, just a few pockets of rain on Saturday. Most of us are dry on Saturday. Warming up to the south, getting to 92 in Kansas City and St. Louis.
Good Thursday morning to you. Meteorologist Chris Uchan. Look at our forecast today across the region. We're going to have a lot of sunshine, slight rain chance near the Gulf. Otherwise, not really expected to see much rain, and temperatures pretty hot. 93 Little Rock, 92 Oklahoma City. May be able to keep it in the 80s in New Orleans with just a slight rain chance here. We head to your Friday forecast, and again, really not much on the rain chances. There you see Friday morning. The afternoon, 87 New Orleans, while the rest of the region is in the 90s.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. We have well above normal temperatures over the Southwest, triple-digit heat in parts of Arizona, while we're cooling down well below normal in the Pacific Northwest, where another low pressure starts to push in more rainfall. The rainy season started early, and it continues through the day on our Thursday, while we have dry, breezy conditions for much of the Southwest. And that's the scene from here.
The National Weather Desk.
Well, have you ever heard that persimmon seeds can help forecast the upcoming winter? Yes, we know it's folklore, but interesting nonetheless. Nashville meteorologist Katie Morgan tells us what she found inside the fruit.
Can this fruit tell us what kind of winter we're going to have? This is a persimmon. According to weather folklore, it can. Hang on, what's a persimmon? A persimmon's a type of fall fruit. It grows on trees and is really sweet. The seeds inside, though, are what hold the key to what kind of winter we could have. So let's open up a few and take a look. Inside the seeds, we'll either see a fork, a spoon, or a knife. A fork means a mild winter, a spoon or shovel means lots of snow headed our way, and a knife means bitter cold weather. In the seeds this year, I found 4 forks, 3 shovels or spoons, and 1 knife, which would mean a relatively mild winter, maybe a couple snows, and 1 big cold snap. Will that be what we end up seeing? Guess we'll have to wait and find out.
And we love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all of your social media platforms, your favorite ones, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.